Sena, for putting this whole together. So talent is something we've been talking about, I think, since yesterday. The digital transformation revolves around different roles and responsibilities, different technologies and different platforms. And then running all that requires talent. I'm going to go quickly on, oops, sorry. Okay. I'm going to go quickly on what is talent. Talent is an ability gifted by God to a person to do something. And we all know that. I mean, there's nothing something I'm telling you guys new, but I'm just trying to set the pace that how we in a common life see the talent. It's a natural attitude, an inner quality that emerges effortlessly, of course. Then we come to a skill. Skill is something which, when we talk about the technology word, that revolves around the skill set. Whenever we hire someone, we see that, okay, what is the skill set we need and what skill set one person has and how the skill being acquired. So an ability or a capability on one can acquire by learning with efforts. So talent is something which is God gifted and skill is something which one can acquire. So a natural attitude, if the person has an attitude to learn as an inner quality, that emerges effortlessly, which I've mentioned that on the talent also. So that is exactly what we need in the skill set also. Now, moving on, the successes and failures in digital transformation. What we need to understand that what talent is necessary to start with understanding with the capabilities of the digital business transformation. There's a greater range of leadership who actually need to understand that what is required for a right talent. Success requires bringing together and coordinating greater efforts in these four interrelated domains. Now, these are the domains we have been listening from different speakers, panelists, and the keynote speakers, that digital transformation revolves around the technology, the data, the processes, and of course, last but not the least, the organizational change capabilities. If an organization doesn't have ability to hold the change capabilities in the team, that would not complete the cycle. There are reasons that companies have failures, which is poor showing in any of the above four interrelated domains. So if we are lacking in technology resources, if we are lacking in data management, if we're lacking in our process re-engineering, and on top of that, if our resources, our talent, which we call our teams, are not capable of accepting the change organizational-wide, then failure is going to happen. So our best talent does not guarantee a success, but a lack of it almost guarantee a failure. So that's the bottom line. With this, I'm going to go on to show a quick video, which talks about how we let me know if you guys can see the video and also the sound.
So you have to run from the beginning because we can't hear sound. You have to share sound as well. So when you are sharing screen, there is an option, share the music, computer music. So
Pardon
please
me,
also enable that.
Sorry, say again, GM, you're saying?
So when you share screen on Zoom, there is an option at the bottom. You have to click share computer sound. So also you have to enable that. Then we can hear the voice. Right now we are not hearing voice.
I think I did that, but let me see that. Built-in output. Let me try that out. Is it okay now?
No.
Huh?
No voice.
No voice? Oh, hang on. Let me see the technology sometime.
If it is YouTube link, you can send me on WhatsApp and I can run from my system.
No, that's all right. I'll try, otherwise I'll just pass it on. I think we don't have time for that. Can you hear this now?
No.
Okay. Let me then.
At the bottom, you can see that there is a share screen, and there should be an options to open the
Yes,
voice.
and that is what I'm. That is what I am trying to, because in Mac,
Not this.
actually,
No this.
in Mac
No,
it's
no.
different. जी Kim.
वो जो बॉटम पे जब आप शेयर स्क्रीन करते हैं ना, तो उसकी जो विंडो ओपन होती है उसके अंदर एक ऑप्शन होती है, आपने उसको एनेबल करना होता है म्यूजिक साउंड शेयर करने के लिए.
All right. Are you talking about this
दोबारा
one?
आप स्टॉक भी दोबारा शेयर कर लें. स्टॉक
There
भी
you
दोबारा.
go. Okay, got it. Okay. Let me, yeah, let me unshare that and share it again. Hang on. Can you guys hear that now?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
So it was a very nice video with no voice.
With no voice. You enjoyed that? Sorry, GM. Let me
Lip syncing was good.
do this now.
Indeed, that was good and shows the different cultures and all these things. That's nice.
I'm going to play that again. And this time, now, can you hear the voice now? Is it working?
No, it's not working.
I'll leave it done. Just leave it done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain the video, Mr. Mujib?
No, this video is talking about what skills and what ecosystem, when you create resources for the talent, what do you see in those resources when you acquire them, when you interview them, when you build the team together for your digital transformation team in all aspects. So that was his gentleman's personal experience. And of course, he talked about the different cultures have, of course, different thought processes, different analogies of the people, and of course, the learning process. So that was the all about.
That's great. That's great. Indeed, these kind of facilities and this kind of skills that we have during the digital transformation is necessary indeed. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So moving on, talk about the technology. So that is, it's a, we talk about Internet of Things, blockchains, data lakes, artificial intelligence, and there are tons and tons of technologies available in the market when it comes to digital transformation and confusing the companies as well. So these emerging technologies with staggering raw potentials, people should adopt and look into it, understanding the right technology as a contributor to digital transformation. So that is the main challenge, that finding out what technology they need and then adopting and integrating it with the existing system. So these are the strengths. Yet a complex task for any organization to understand all that and put these things together. And this brings challenges to the organization. The technical debt would embed legacy technologies. Many companies, they are running on legacy systems. It's difficult for them to actually move on to the new technologies because many companies have had lost their faith in their IT departments. They rely on that, okay, as long as the company is keeping the lights on, their legacy systems are working, that's pretty much the want. And the businesses primarily are, apart from the technology department. That is one area where they have an issue and challenge in digital transformation. Now, how to resolve this? They need, of course, people with the right technology, with the right technology talent and the ability to work hand in hand with the business. As long as they are together, things can come out positively, incorporating institutional IT to build the trust. Because in most of the organizations, even the large enterprises, IT sits in silo independently and thinking that, okay, they are the master of domain, they know the technology, but until they do not interact with the business and understand what the business needs are, they will not be able to actually transform that organization into a real digital transformation industry company. So demonstrating business value with technology innovation. Technology leaders with greater communication and strategic sense in technology choices, of course, their experience is there, but their objective or their main, of course, strength is to bringing the right technology to place and work for that particular organization. So that requires their skills and talents to work on that. Keeping in view of the time, I'm not going into details of the data processes and organizational changes, but of course the data is, I'm going to touch briefly that what the data is. There are structured data, there are internal to company data, there are external to company data, and they play major role in managing companies' digital strategy and data analytics, which Ghulam was also talking about. As long as the people who understand the data and also they are able to put together a structure to that, that's the talent we require. And with the technology, we need talent with both greater breadth and depth in the data. Even more important is the ability to convince large number of people at the front line, the people who are collecting in the organization, collecting the data and creating the data. So this means thinking through and communicating the data they need now, and then they will need after transformation. So when they're collecting the data, they should be understanding it well. It also means that helping frontline workers to improve their own work process and tasks, such as they create data correctly. So if the data is not correctly created, that's not going to, so that requires not only the technology people, but also the people at the last mile who are collecting the data to understand that what is they need to be collected and how they need to be collected so the technology can use it properly. Then we briefly talk about processes. Processes are transformational required end-to-end mindset. Any company without the processes cannot structure themselves in any domain, despite via digital transformation or any other business they do. So they need to rethink the way to meet customer needs. They will have a seamless connectivity to work activities and their ability to manage across silos going forward, because if the different functions of this organization are working in silos and they are not part of the process chain, then message is not going to go through, and the transformation of organization from manual to digital is not going to be successful. So many have found process management horizontally across silos and focused on customers difficult to reconcile with traditional hierarchical thinking. So traditional hierarchical thinking is something they need to actually adopt. As a result, their powerful concept has languished, and without transformation is reduced to a series of incremental improvements. So improvement and helpful, but not truly transformative. If they will not adopt the process management, they will not be able to truly transform the organization. Talking about the organizational change capability, that is the crux of the everything. I mean, you have a good technology experts, and your data is very much clean. You have it structured, you have it organized, and your processes are in place. But what if your organization people are not able to adopt the change? They are not able to to work as a team, as have a courage and emotional intelligence in elements of change. Then it'll become a challenge for you. There's a lot has been written about this domain in many years at different subjects. So other than not to anyone responsible for digital transformation, we will say that in the area of this change management, we must focus on recommendations given above and have urged leaders to seek those with excellent people skills. So if you're unable to find them, a good alternative is to put them in a purple people mode, where people are able to work on both sides. So the people who can understand the transformation and also understand accept the change management. So that's how you will be able to manage your change, digital transformation. Talking about all these four things, we reached to a point where we are putting all it together. I would say that we talked about technology, we talked about processes, the organizational change capability. They do not exist in silos, in isolations, but they are part of the large whole. They had to be integrated, implemented together. So technology is the engine of digital transformation, where data is its fuel and the process is the guideline. The system and organizational change capability is the landing gear. So you need them all, and they must function well together. And at the bottom line of that is your talent, your people from technology, business, and function, operation, everybody should be trained to adopt and acquire this, accept this transformational change. Then you will be able to successfully implement the digital transformation. So that's the need of the talent an organization required. With that, that's all my presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and sorry for that video sound issue. I'll share it with Ghulam Mustafa, the link, which he can share it with the audiences on their emails. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mujib. Maybe we have a bit of time to answer a question.
Please.
Okay. Someone is saying, I think we should bring Silicon Valley startup culture in Pakistan, and our IT leaders, like all panelists, should play this role. Is there any forum or platforms for any startups?
Yes, of course, there are many. Not only within Pakistan, there are, I think, the government level, also at the private sector, where the startup ecosystems are being nurtured and managed. The Punjab IT board does that. Pasha has their Nest.io. And as far as the international system is concerned, there's another, recently I was interacting with they have had created an ecosystem in Silicon Valley for all the successful Pakistani leaders, technologists who have created, varied the technologies, the business areas, and they are setting up an ecosystem on that as well. So if anybody has any information required, they can reach out to me. I can provide them links for these areas.
For sure. If Mr. Mujib, you can just share your LinkedIn also in the chat. I think you did already, probably. And this way people can get in touch with you for any questions that they have. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And for your patience, of course. You've been waiting for a long time. Thank you for the presentation again. Very insightful. Mr. Ghulam, any final words?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for all the participants. Right. Okay.
Actually,
I would like just some adds, queries that Mr. Mujib has been shared. I really appreciate the knowledge, the skills that he shared with us. Indeed, there are some certain criterias for digital transformations. Like employees are very important, and there are some certain things that we have to keep in mind while we are working for digital transformation, like the data, the employee, the partners that are involved in digital transformation. That is very important for us, because if your partner in this whole process is efficient, and they are the capable to do this, then you will get the results as well. And regarding the questions of some audience, that small medium enterprise, what they should do for the data driven analytics form. Yes, there are companies in Pakistan who are providing a low cost data analytics for the SMEs as well. So they should consult with them. And because now these days, as you can see, that a lot of data is available in the form of Excel, in the form of Facebook, and the form of ERP solutions, all that. So we have to combine all these data in a one symmetric system that can predict the results, the outcomes of our efforts. Like for example, the real problem is time management. So
Yeah.
data analytics provide the real solutions for the time management. Management can view and see the daily routines and operations and sales and all these things on one platform. So I recommend that
Yeah.
SMEs and large organizations must adopt the solutions of business intelligence. So they might helpful for that.
Excellent.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Thank you so much, Ghulam, for your insights. And now, Mustafa, I will not say Ghulam again. So,
Okay.
do you want to say a word finally before we move to Sabine?
I'm thankful to Ghulam Jazdani for his excellent input and for his discussion on post-COVID situation and how we can handle them. And I'm thankful to him for joining, and
Thank you
especially
very
to
much.
Mr. Mujib Qayyum because he's my boss as well. He's the advisor of HR Principal.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Wow, there you go. Well, thank you, Ghulam Shah. Thank you.
thank you very much. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Thank you,
Thank you
gentlemen.
very
Thank you for your
much.
patience.
Okay,
Thank
man.
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. Take care.
So we move now to Sabine. Hi, Sabine. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Sabine. She has
Hi.
been waiting for a long time.
Yes.
Just like yesterday, right?
Yes.
but this time it's technically easier for us to be able to communicate. So Sabine, today you're going to be covering why we have to develop a failure culture in order to learn and to grow in the digital age, and it will be basically the closing for our summit today, which is excellent. So how do we grow and how do we learn? So I leave the floor to you. I don't know if Mr. Ghulam wants to say something,
Thank
but
you.
it's all yours. I think
Thank you
Ghulam
very
didn't hear me.
much.
Please go ahead, Sabine. It's yours.
Mustafa, some words from you before I start? Great. So I
I
will
want to
share my
welcome you.
screen.
I want
And
to thank you very much for again joining us today. And we are very happy and we are very glad to have you back. It's very
thank you.
important topic, Zina, the topic which Sabine is going to talk about. It's like learning, unlearning, then unlearning, then relearning. It's a kind of a myth.
We keep on
So,
learning all our lives, so yeah, it's
but
a very
sometimes for
interesting
learning
topic.
new thing, we have to first unlearn the previous thing.
Yeah. Yes, true. So
Totally true.
we'll keep the floor to Sabine so she can teach us how to grow in this digital age and what do we need to learn. So it's all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So actually, I love keynote speeches. So even though I'm the last of this great digital transformation summit 2020, but I love it, especially when I can interact with my audience. So this will be difficult today because I have no faces except yours, Mustafa. I hope you stay there. So I have to get out of my comfort zone, accept the circumstances, and risk to fail.
I'll be there also.
Welcome,
Yeah.
please. Welcome to my hard topic, to develop a failure culture in order to learn and grow in the digital age. And let me click to the next slide. Yes. Yeah. let me try a way of interacting with you all on YouTube channel and also here on the Zoom link. And I invite you to close your eyes and go back to your childhood time. Imagine you are almost 1 year and excited to take your first steps, your very first steps. So your parents take your hands carefully, and after 2 or 3 steps, they encourage you to let go out of the hand. So can you imagine it? Do I see some heads nodding? Yes, great. But what happens? Oops, you fall on your butt, most of the cases. So good that those days we have well-padded butts with our diapers. But first trial, not successfully. Let's make another one. You put yourself up by your parents' help, and oops, you fall again once more. And your parents cheer you on and encourage you, keep trying, keep trying. Isn't that a nice imagination? Even if you can remember your own childhood, maybe from your own experience as parents, you can recall that feeling. Do I see some nodding heads? Yes, lovely. So this is actually the real nature, how we learn. This is, we never learn so fast in our eternal life, and as it is, so actually in the first years of our early childhood. So and now imagine the following scenario. At this time, you replace your cheering parents with your current superior in the organization you're working in. And after the second or third fall on your butt, the superior looks at you, disappointed, judgmentally, regretful, and removes the dessert from your daily meal portion of the whole year, similar to bonus maybe, and advises you to give up and let someone else do it better. How would you feel? Do you think you would have learned to walk with this kind of support? Maybe, but maybe you would prefer to search for a better, more supportive place. So let's recap this childhood journey. Your superior creates the culture of daring to fail or hiding of failure. So we learn by trial and error. Yes, there is no other way to develop and transform as human beings. Whether you lead a global corporation, develop software, advise clients, practice medicine, build homes, or whatever fits to you, you are a brain worker. So just as standardization was the engine of growth in the Industrial Revolution, today growth is driven by ideas and inventions. People must bring their brain to work and collaborate with each other to solve problems and accomplish what is permanently changing. So if you are not able to put your people in the right place, you will not be able to create value over the long term. During the industrial age, we have built an environment to become more efficient in our processes. All our structures, procedures, and behaviors have worked in this way for decades. I mentioned this yesterday already. And actually, I guess I tell nothing new to you when you think of the VUCA world. It needs innovation, ideas, agility in nearly every industry. So I've seen only few managers thinking about the implication of this new reality and what this means when it comes to creating a work environment that would support your people. And those who are thinking of it have no idea where to start and how to create a nurturing environment. So the recipe for your success is not to hire smart and motivated people. Even the smart ones cannot always contribute what they know at the critical moments on the job when it is needed. Sometimes this is because they fail to recognize the right moment, but more often it's because they hesitate to stand out, be wrong, or offend their superior. Let me change the slide. Yes. For brain work to flourish, The workplace must be one where people feel safe to share their mind. This means sharing concerns, questions, mistakes, and also half-formed ideas. No 21st century organization can afford to have a culture of fear. The fearless organization is not only a better place for employees, but also a place where innovation, growth, and performance can take place. Let me share another story. I have to switch slides again. So, yes. Matthew Seed gave a true example in his book, The Black Box. Elaine, a mother of 2 kids with her husband, was brought to the hospital in the morning for a routine operation. And the family planned to pick her up, planned to pick her up after school. So everything normal. Routine operation, and the main doctor had more than 30 years of experience. The anesthetist had 16 years of experience, and the hospital had excellent reputation and facilities. At 8:35 in the morning, she received an anesthetic to fall asleep, and they started to put a breathing supply into her mouth. But there was a problem. The doctor couldn't get the mask into her mouth. So minute by minute, while the experienced and excellent doctors tried to connect the oxygen supply, Elaine's oxygen saturation dropped. So the doctor was so busy and highly concentrated that they lost the sense of time. And I want to underline here, please do not switch on your judgmental mind. This is very human. We are all like that. A nurse suggested and was ready to cut a small cut here. Can you see me on the screen? Here on the throat. And to be able to insert the tube, as it is the last emergency move in this situation. She informed the doctor in the room, but they didn't respond. They were continuing trying to force the tube into Elaine's mouth. And the nurse hesitated. She reasoned that experienced experts were at hand. They had surely considered the danger. And she was one of the most junior person in the room. So they were authority figures. Elaine was deep blue, and unfortunately, it was too late for her. Is it loss of face or loss of life? Does it have to be that way? Maybe some of you read the audit report of the International Monetary Fund after the financial crisis in 2009. Did you know that one of the reasons shown in this evaluation was that people didn't dare to speak up? Loss of face or financial crisis? Does it have to be that way? Still my same question. Please share your failures that others can learn and grow. Let's imagine the following. A nurse had worked in a hospital where she felt psychologically safe. She would not have hesitated to call it up again to the doctors, or even take the necessary step without waiting for any approval. She might not even be aware of making a conscious decision to speak up. It would be simply natural, part of her job. Isn't it similar with newcomers in the job? As long as they haven't enough time to observe the corporate culture, unspoken rules, and adopt to it, they are more open to question and contribute ideas. I experienced the same throughout my entire career. Luckily, my first boss loved it when I asked questions. I felt that this is what he loves and what he needs. He set the foundation for my business understanding. In my second career step, my boss was in Paris and I had all the freedom one can imagine. He encouraged me and was supportive and loved my creativity and interest looking behind the curtain. In my third career step, I behaved in my usual understanding of doing a good job. After a phone call I had with first level director, my colleague working close to me informed me that I shouldn't do that again, as I'm not on the same level and I should leave such calls to our boss. I didn't understand what she was talking about. It was so obvious to me that this is my area of expertise and not of my boss. and it didn't make any sense to me why I should do it the other way around. So in case you are curious, I served for almost 6 years, and I was permanently conscious not to adapt to the corporate culture of the organization. This sounds easy to say and to do when you don't have to depend on the paycheck. And I was lucky. So a climate of psychological safety, trust, and respect needs space. The doctor might quickly agree with the nurse, or he might have explained why it wasn't dangerous in this case. Either way, the hospital and the team would be better off as a result. The patients would have received life-saving medication, or the team would have learned more. Before leaving the room, the doctor might thank the nurse for her intervention, and that he is glad to rely on her to speak up in case he misses something. Yeah. The free exchange of ideas or questions is hindered by interpersonal fear, far more often than most managers realize. Psychological safety is very much shaped by leaders, by your direct superior. Yeah, I have another sample for you. And psychological safety allows people to focus on reaching shared goals rather than on self-protection. There are wonderful examples that shows us while trial and error, that without trial and error, our humanity would be completely different today. I'm sure most of you know that we discovered penicillin through an error, or Edison sample. How many failed attempts did it take before we no longer had to bring light in our homes with candles? Let's focus on the insights from thousands of samples and studies by looking at the business that could integrate those learnings to our best. Aviation. The black box records every conversation, every step and every action on the plane, and there are clear rules in the cockpit that do not allow fear of hierarchy, peer pressure, or other distortions. The admission of errors is required on purpose in order to continuously improve them. Not the people are the problem and the target to blame, but the processes are adapted and improved. Let me share. Yes. With each failure, new learning was added, and the development continued. It is not for nothing that flying has become the safest form of travel. So every time you think your employee is the problem, most likely the situation, the environment, the structures, or the processes are causing the problem. Have you heard such statements? You don't admit mistakes. People don't like that at all. It makes you look incompetent. Or keep pretending we know what's going on, otherwise we will lose face. Or another one, when that blows up, people will never forgive us. We'll keep them busy with other things. Someone else should take care of it. Or as long as we don't have any answers, we leave them in the belief that everything is fine. I don't see any noddings. I've heard such statements too often. We'd rather twist the truth, cover up our failure, or look for someone or something to blame. Unimportant things are often exaggerated to distract from our pain points or fear of losing faith. Everywhere, in all cultures. Hear my advice. Awaken the willingness to transform in your company if you want to play a role in the digital age. Put your people in the right place. Provide them with beneficial resources, useful structures, and a culture that demands questions and proactive engagements. So demand it. If you don't demand, they will not dare. We humans are creatures of habits that mostly begin to change when having pain, fear, or pressure. And it is really difficult to break out of familiar thinking pattern and habits and not to fall back So anyone who wanted to lose weight or tried to quit smoking maybe can understand what I mean with that. Let me show you the 3 steps of our Fail, Share and Grow program, which is designed to develop new habits. Yes, here it is. First, the phase fail. Accept the trial and error is a necessary part of your life. Be happy for every recognized failure because you have learned something new. And build structures and processes to feel safe to experiment new things. Let's move to share. I have also 3 points for you. Let others participate and learn from each other's error. Share to prevent that mistakes needed to be repeated, which is, by the way, saving you a lot of money. And build structures and processes that sharing has space. And finally, grow. Grow in courage to be able to take bigger and bolder steps and build structures and processes again, where people can grow and your organization will flourish. Let me close with my last statement. Admitting mistakes, analyzing them and learning from them is in short supply in many cultures. The consequence is that we cannot develop further without a healthy culture of error. We learn from trial and error. Admitting mistakes is not a sign of weakness, but of strength and greatness. Get up, learn from it, and make the next steps. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sabine. Honestly, I have a question for you.
Yes.
We see that a lot of employees.
I request if sorry, Zina, if Sabine
yes.
can, if you can close your screen so that we can.
Yes.
Have it full, exactly. Thank you.
So we find a lot of employees today that are unhappy in their jobs, okay? And definitely they want to learn and grow and reach to certain places, but there are no bosses or how can I say management that actually encourages these people. And with the situation of Corona, a lot of companies are making use of the juniors, okay, to make them work more without any future expansions. So a lot of them are thinking to start their own businesses and they're also scared and worried to start. And I always tell people also, because I do a lot of talks about this, that you guys have to know first what do you love and what you can do before branching out of a job. So what can you tell us about that, especially for youngsters, okay, that are still starting their life ahead? So they won't build anxiety and fear, obviously.
So you mean when they have no boss? So when they do their own business?
No, example, I'm 22 and I'm working in a company as an employee. I'm a junior and I'm being, sorry for this word, like squashed around for me to work so much, and I'm fed up of the job. I'm not giving encouragement to grow. And now I'm actually thinking of, you know, doing something on my own, on the side. I'm scared. I have anxiety. I don't know where to start, where to go. What do I do? So maybe you can advise if there's mentorship that they have to do, to know life coaching that they need. A lot of things that I hear it a lot from youngsters, you know, especially in the Middle East. We have a lot of politics.
Yeah. Zeina, it's actually a lovely question because it shows what I see in all over not the world, because I'm not operating in all over the world, but in Europe and also in Turkey, where I'm dealing a lot, that if the organizations are not attractive, if they are not putting the people in the right place and securing the structure and the processes, people will leave. So talents or people, smart people like you, for example, as you said, you're fed up with this situation. So there is the danger that they lose the best people. And if
they will lose the best people. So if I decide, I'm 22 and I decide I want to leave because I have been overworked and I want to start my own business, but I have fears, I have anxiety, how do I get mentored to do something that I love to do?
Yeah, so as for mentor, there are a lot of coaches around the world. So if you want to start your own business, there is possibilities. What we do, actually, we have a tool which is based on not on psychology but on chemistry, because we work a lot with natural science. where we, it's a kind of personality inventory, where we make a kind of test, and then a coaching session where they also receive feedback. And here it's not about where are your development areas, but there's about how is your chemistry in your brain functioning and what is your uniqueness and what environment is the one you need, you personally. And as we are really all unique and we are so different, you might need a daily schedule with tough deadlines, or you need somebody to push, and someone else maybe needs no one to push because there is another personality. And we work with this tool and give them feedback to our clients so that they have not only seeing where are their strengths, but also which environment do they need to really reach peak performance.
To accelerate, right? Now, there are two questions that are contradicting, funny enough. One that says, at HR Legends, we try to provide mentorship to the people around us. Whereas someone else is saying, what about when HR does not care about employees' rights? So you have companies that care about the HR.
Leave the company. Leave the company. So
as simple as that. Okay. Find a job entirely.
But I think it depends.
And you remember from my story, from my career path. And luckily, as I said, my very first boss was giving me so much psychological safety that in this environment, I felt so I could ask everything. And this set the foundation of my understanding how business life should be. And I'm sure there are so many people who have not experienced that. And of course, there are fears and anxieties. And I fully understand when your life is depending on your monthly paycheck, then you accept certain circumstances.
Yes.
But what I see is going on, and this is a worldwide process, that more and more people are not willing to work under these conditions anymore. And this forces the organization to move. As I said, most of our human beings are only moving and doing something when the pain is big enough. And the pain becomes bigger and bigger as more people are saying, I don't accept these circumstances anymore. And then organization will change, because the goal cannot be that everybody makes his own business and is self-employed.
I was talking to a gentleman last time about the subject, and he was saying that whoever is an employee should have a side gig. So example, if you are good at something and you fancy starting a business, keep your job, start it on the side quietly, and start building on that to be able to move to something better. Yet a lot of people are fearing because of money, because of situations that are around, and for the support.
Yeah. So my big dream is, sorry. So my big dream, so I also would not recommend this suggestion, because then you have two heads at the same time, and then you are not a fully engaged employee. And if I'm engaged in an organization and I'm employed, then my full attention belongs somehow there. So this is how I understand from the ethical point also the business case. But I fully understand people want to start their own business. Sorry?
The reason I just wanted to add a point over here, if you allow me. Ethics is the main basis for anything, for any relationship, for any activity. So if for example, if I am doing something with you, Sabine, I should clarify my expectation and you should clarify your expectations. So when it is mentioned in your contract of employment that you cannot do any other financial activity while you are working with us, so ethically this is wrong. And if you want to do, you should first take permission from your employer. So that's why I don't recommend this. And you know, this employment is also a relationship. So what happens when either employer or employee, when they are not ethically handling each other, then these problems arise. So sometimes the employee has to look at the side that whether he is getting what he was promised, and if he can bear it, then he should bear it. Otherwise, so generally there are no such kind of issues. But how we feel? So if I promise to give you $1,000 and if I'm not in a position to give you $1,000, I start paying you $900. So you still have that 1,000 in your mind. You always, it is kicking you again and again, psychological effect. So I think if we control it, if we manage to control it, we can handle it in a different way. This is what I think. But
But
ethics
okay,
first. Ethics first.
Yes,
They
course.
should not.
that is important point for me as well. Yeah.
of course.
And there is
Yeah.
other thing, passion and profession. Sometimes you are doing a kind of job which is your profession and passion, then you enjoy it more. But sometimes you are in a profession but not in your, that is not your passion, so you feel demotivated. We should not mix our profession with your passion. For example, my passion is traveling, that's it. So I cannot find a kind of job in which I'm always traveling. So if I cannot find that job, I should stick to my profession. I should not let my passion come into my profession. Unfortunately, Steve Jobs, he said, do a job which you like to do. I disagree with him because he has confused the people. We should not mix your profession with your passion. This is my thinking. Over to you. You are the expert. Sometimes I'm also part-time expert. So
I
Sabine, do you have anything else? So Zina, do you have any questions for Sabine? Let's check in the
I
question and
mean,
answer.
this is a very long topic because it really varies from one culture to another, to be very honest. What I see in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Middle
you're
East,
right.
maybe it's not applicable to Europe because you have human rights in Europe and the US. We don't have that here, and we have vast of nationalities. And unfortunately, people are used here, okay, and I say it openly in front of everyone because they hire
Sometimes.
people and by 6 months time during the probation they utilize the employees for 6 months and then they ask them to leave before the probation is over. So you find you know this the issues that happen. So you find a lot of employees are always under fear to be let go. So again, they don't know what's expected. That's why I'm asking, so what is the solution for such people? Are they advised to start something on the side and then branch out if anything happens? Plan B that they can look at? Because I'll tell you something, in the Middle East, a lot of them are actually thinking of leaving to Europe and the US for jobs. Because now we don't have the jobs that we need and we do not have the ethics and the ethical environment that we need.
But
And one of
imagine
the
what that means. But imagine what that means. That means that when people are ready and the smartest ones are ready to move and to leave the countries, what does it mean for the country? What does it mean for the organizations who are losing those
Talent,
people?
drainage,
they lost,
talent.
they lost the
So,
talent and
Talent gap.
so
they
what,
lost their future growth.
so what is our dream and what is our mission and purpose at People at Right Place? We want to support each individual to find his uniqueness and his strength and his passion and his purpose, and to find his place where he fits the best. And at the same time, and I guess there is the strongest skewing point where we can support is to make organizations aware if they not change, if they are not treating humans and as it is, as I expressed it in my presentation, they will lose them. They're attractive. They will not be attractive if they cannot provide a workplace where the people can bring in their best talents and their best motivation and their passion.
And I think to conclude it, I think employers should actually learn how to, make their employees grow by providing workshops and trainings so they can make use of this generation. And at the same time, to reduce the fear of, unfortunately, this young generation that doesn't know where to go and what to do.
Yeah. There's no person,
Actually,
there is no person who doesn't want to bring in their best.
It's
So
so true.
if they are allowed to, they will do. So we need organizations, they allow to people to flourish and to grow.
but I think it is us who are responsible for our future, for our career, for our profession. So what we expect this thing from our organization, which is wrong. So all organizations cannot do things like this. Secondly, we always try to be generalist. We don't like to be specialist. I tell you, you should be need of the organization. Organization should not be your need. If you are need of your organization, they will always like to retain you. They will always like to kick you off when you are their they are your need. So
I
to
have made
become
some
need,
other experiences. So maybe you have different experiences with different organizations, but there are organizations, and I work with a lot of them who are willing to, and even those people working in this organization or the bosses themselves, they also want to have a purposeful life. They don't want to have always pushing people and struggling. So at the end of the day, everybody wants to find his right place, and I guess all together we can reach them.
It's very true. Thank you so much, Sabine, for your insights today. This is one of the best topics, I think, also during the summit, because it's one of the things that it's the core, it's the base of all businesses. And it's, how can I say, when the core is there, businesses do grow. Mr. Ghulam, any last word before we actually conclude?
I think now it's the time to depart and to say goodbye. 2 days, very good association, very good discussions, lots of panelists, lots of keynote speakers. Again, I'm sharing with you 63 guest speakers from Sri Lanka, from Europe, from UAE, from America, from UK, so from Gulf region. So it was a very nice
Vienna.
event. Vienna, yes. Oh, yes, part of Europe, you know, Austria.
Austria, I love Austria.
Yeah, Sabine has four legs, I think. One leg in Turkey, in Ankara, in Istanbul, then in Vienna, and then she is also in some other country as well. So
Amazing.
Yeah, so mashallah, she's doing excellent job. So
thank you so much, Sabine, for your time.
Thank you very much.
These 2 days, I think we spent these 2 days like this. We didn't even realize. So we had fully packed agenda, lots of discussions. Some discussions were not complete because we were running short of time. But overall, it was an excellent session, excellent summit. I hope to see you guys again in our upcoming summit, and I'm thankful to all the sponsors. Zina will cover this part to say thanks to sponsors, and also the collaborators, the partners, and also the Zoom. We also have a Zoom partner, Softcom. they supported. They supported us for this Zoom licensing. So without support of these partners, sponsors, and master of ceremony, it was not possible to conduct such a nice event. So thank you very much, everyone. All the attendees, you know, who attended on Zoom, who attended on YouTube, and who attended on the other platform which we were using yesterday. So without support of all these people, we were not able to deliver such a nice event. We were connected on different times, like UAE 1 o'clock, Pakistan 2 o'clock, Europe 11 o'clock in the morning, UK 10 o'clock in the morning. So we were managing all these things. So thank you very much to everyone. And over to you, Zina, to give the closing.
First of all, Mr. Ghulam, I would like to thank you personally for having me as the Master of Ceremony for this amazing summit. I met amazing people, amazing panelists, amazing talkers, amazing presentations. I learned a lot also out of it. I hope we can get such a summit to the UAE and to do it regionally also. And hopefully we can work on this together. And I would like to thank all the speakers and the panelists that were very patient with us during this time, because I think we had a bit of technical issues, which happens, it's not a problem. And I would like to thank the sponsors again. Let me name them one by one because they were very supportive. Thank you to Oracle, GMP Compliance Academy, Skillsoft, Bilitica, Pharmed, Enocta, Gisircar, Innovative Healthcare Systems, and Head of Tech Solutions. Thank you so much for making this event happen. And thank you, Mr. Ghulam, for putting this together, and the team behind HR Legends also. And best of luck, and hopefully till next year, if it's not in 2 months' time. I don't know yet, we will have to plan it. Thank you so much for everybody. And thank you for the opportunity to me also. I hope everyone was happy from my side. And thank you again, Mr. Ghulam.
Thank you very much. I must say, Zina, I have worked with different Master of Ceremonies. I have worked with, it's not like that, but it's just for the purpose of appreciation and acknowledgement. I have worked with MOCs from Europe, from UK, especially with very good English accent and vocabulary. But the kind of experience which we had with you is very nice. You have been very supportive. You were working day and night with us. Even we had calls at midnight, I remember. And you were there. You were discussing the script, the initial points, and everything we discussed. And
It's my
I'm
pleasure.
very happy. I'm very
It's my
happy to have
pleasure.
you on board.
And
Thank
I
you very
thank you
much.
also. I learned a lot. Thanks a lot, and well done for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks to everyone. And good luck. And Pakistan Zindabad. And with this, we are closing. Bye bye.
Thank you. I will leave.